Reverend D. Alexander Bullock is on the line. He is the president of the Detroit chapter of the Rainbow Push Coalition and the president of the Highland Park, Michigan NAACP, rainbowpush.org, the website for the Rainbow Push group. Dr. Bullock, welcome to the program.
Tom, so good to be on the program with you today.
Thank you for joining us. Tell us about this mock funeral.
Well, on Monday, Memorial Day, we're going to have a mock funeral for democracy because, of course, for those who've been watching your show, you've been covering the emergency manager and the voter suppression in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, democracy is dead. Liberty's been lynched. And so we're going to dramatize this through satire by putting democracy in the casket and funeralizing democracy on Monday at 11 a.m. at the Galilee Baptist Church.
Okay, and the Galilee Baptist Church is where?
5251 East Outer Drive, 5251 East Outer Drive in Detroit, Michigan, at 11 a.m. And this will be not the first funeral. There was a funeral for democracy in Benton Harbor on yesterday.
Yep.
Be one in Detroit on Monday at 11 a.m. And then it will move to Flint as well. So we're taking it around the state where emergency management has reared its ugly head so that we can let citizens know exactly what Public Act 4 and voter suppression mean in Michigan.
So Public Act 4 is a piece of legislation that the Republicans rammed through the House and Senate, and Governor Rick Snyder signed into law in Michigan. And they signed it into law claiming that they had a supermajority so they could immediately implement it, which they didn't have. They lied. It was illegally put into law. And this piece of law, this piece of legislation, does what?
This piece of legislation makes the vote null and void. It allows the governor to occupy cities and school districts. And so we elected a mayor, we elected city council, city commissioners, emergency managers come in and have unilateral powers to break union contracts, to sit mayors and city council members down. In fact, in Benton Harbor, you may remember, the emergency manager told the city council they can't do anything but open and close a meeting, and told the mayor to get out of his office. He wouldn't need it. And so emergency management makes the vote meaningless, useless, and null and void.
Here's the thing that baffles me about the politics of this, Reverend Bullock, and maybe you have some insights into this, or maybe you don't want to get into the politics, and feel free to say so. But, you know, the Republican hit on President Obama, one of the big ones has been that he didn't walk General Motors, he didn't crash them into bankruptcy. He actually, he offered government assistance to General Motors to keep them alive. And the Republicans are all hysterical about that. Oh, the government interfered with this business, right? This giant business that would have thrown 1 million people out of work. And they should have just let it go bankrupt, which is, by the way, what New York City did back about 2-3 decades ago. New York City went bankrupt, if my memory serves me right. And I don't understand how a Republican can say, okay, this city's being badly managed, this city's terribly in debt, so we're going to bail it out, or we're going to send an emergency manager in to run it, which seems highly undemocratic, rather than saying what the Republicans nationally are all saying, which is, and what Mitt Romney said about the auto industry, and when he wrote that famous op-ed in the New York Times that was titled, "Let Detroit Go Bankrupt," why don't the Republicans in Michigan simply say, okay, Detroit has problems, let them go bankrupt?
That's a great point. There are two responses here. One, they don't want Detroit to go bankrupt, because then the bondholders lose. Then corporate...
Oh, the fat cats lose.
The fat cats lose. But the second thing is this. In emergency management, or the emergency manager, emergency management is not a bailout. The emergency manager comes to the city with no resources. It's a cap and cut policy. So it adds insult to industry. It's anti-democratic. It makes the vote null and void. But then the emergency manager comes in and cuts fire, cuts police, right? Cuts city services. Doesn't make the city better, and has no resources. It's like I say all the time. And a surgeon cuts to cure you, an axe murderer cuts to kill you. Emergency managers are not surgeons, they're axe murderers.
That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And then it's also a double hit on democracy, in as much as the Republicans, and I understand the Republicans of Michigan are fixing to do this also, they're passing these laws all over the nation to try to make sure that young people who are going to college, that people who live in an urban environment who don't own cars, or who are sufficiently poor that they can't own a car and therefore never bother to get a driver's license, or people who are elderly and can't easily make it out to get ID or get a driver's license or have no reason to have one, that those people, those constituencies, which are principally Democratic voting, capital D, the party, principally vote for Democrats, that those people will not be able to vote in the fall. And so they're disenfranchising people that way, turning them away at the polls. And then on top of that, they say, oh, yeah, you voted for this mayor and you voted for this city council. Ha! You can't have them. We've got this emergency manager. He's going to run the town for you.
That's right. That's right. It's definitely a double hit. It's voter suspension and voter suppression. We thought we were past the poll tax. We thought we were past the literacy test, the bubble test. And so I can't believe that in Michigan right now we're fighting so that there can be open inclusion and open access to voting. And so we got emergency management on the one hand and voter suppression on the other hand. Michigan is ground zero for protecting the right to vote in the United States of America.
Yeah, it is. It is quite remarkable. The Reverend D. Alexander Bullock, you can read more about it at rainbowpush.org, the president of the Detroit chapter of Rainbow Push. Sir, thank you very much for the great work that you're doing there in Detroit and for alerting. One last question. Let's just, one more time, let people know where and when this Funeral for Democracy tomorrow is, and also what they can do if they're not in Michigan or in the Detroit area.
Definitely. The Funeral for Democracy is on Memorial Day, Monday, May 28th, 11 a.m., Galilee Baptist Church, 5251 East Outer Drive. If you're not in Detroit, get connected to us. Follow us on Twitter, Rainbow Push MI. Follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook, Rainbow Push Detroit. There's a major march brewing for the right to vote, for an urban policy, for urban reinvestment. Stop the violence, save the vote. We want you to be connected to that march. So, again, like us on Facebook, Rainbow Push Detroit. Follow us on Twitter, Rainbow Push MI. And the Funeral of Democracy is this Monday at 11 a.m., Galilee Baptist Church, 5251 East Outer Drive.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work, sir. And thank you for being with us today.